That's how you craft a really great welcome series. Ensure to get as many of those points in there that make sense for your business. Don't cram too much all in one. Spread it out. Make sure you deliver that coupon in the beginning, and then make sure that your sign up form rate as high as possible, because that will really make or break your welcome series as well. All right, so the welcome series. This should be your biggest money earning flow in your Klaviyo account or whatever software you use. This is the entrance to your business, right? So how's it triggered? When someone signs up to your pop-up, they go into that list, and then the first email is triggered from the entire flow is triggered from that pop-up, and then people are brought through the welcome series. So getting the welcome series right is super, super important, because, this is the first touch point of your business, of your email. This is where you can get all the right information that you need to present to people in order to convince them that you're the right shop. You've got the right products, you can be trustworthy. So real big one here. You got to get this right. And again, as I said, it should be your biggest money earning flow. So this is a little document, pretty big document, to be honest, that I made all about the welcome series. A lot of these things in here are suggestions when it comes to content and the number of emails. So really just, take it with a pinch of salt. You don't need to do it in this exact order. You don't need to talk about this exact content, but use a lot of this as ideas for your own store. Maybe you only want to do 4 emails, right? That's fine. Use a few of these ideas and make sure to get most of them in the 4 emails. But generally speaking, a welcome series email should be at least 4 emails long, because there are a few things that you really need to talk about. It can extend to 8. I mean, geez, if you've got a load of things to talk about, maybe extend it even more. This is especially true if you've got a high value product, or if it's a very complex product that people need to learn about. So if you've got a lot of stuff to talk about, then okay, you can extend it. Just keep extending it. You don't want to put too much in one email. You can't talk about how the product works. You can't talk about, and then reviews, and then your business, and then guarantees, and everything like that. You can't cram it all into like just a few emails. Spread it all out. So here we go. Let's just have a look at this. As I mentioned, in general, higher value product, it should be a bit longer, and complex products. It's better to send one topic per email. So yeah, I mean, you can cram a couple other little things in there as well, but let's see. So first of all, email number 1. Right? This one, I've seen quite a few people get wrong, right? This is mainly just a coupon delivery email. That's all it is. They signed up to get an offer. I mean, it might not be a coupon. It could be a free product. It could be free shipping, whatever. But that first email has to talk about and give the offer to the people, because that's why they signed up. Now, if you're doing the pop-up correctly and you do have a coupon, you should probably have it on the last stage of the pop-up, so that anyone who's ready to shop right now can just copy and paste it into the checkout and get it immediately. Adding friction to make them go to their email to get it will reduce the number of immediate purchases. So, but for those who don't make a purchase, immediately, then, you've got to give it to them in the first email. So that's what email 1, it should always be about, the delivery of the offer. You don't even have to go too crazy. It can be super simple. Here's your coupon. Here's your offer. Use it now. Here's a button. Off you go. That's it. Then the next one, sometimes, not sometimes, but all the time, you should have a founder story in the welcome series somewhere. Email 2 is a good place to do this. Why I started this business, why I sell these products, talk about your own story of why you got into it. Actually, I'm just going to brush over these a little bit quick, because I go into them in further details down below. So then customer testimonials you can do, coupon reminder, and then, how our products are made and better than competition, the refund policy, quality assurance, and then, not buying now, no worries, hope to see you soon, whatever. Again, these are just suggestions. But the thing is, within all these emails, these are content that you should include within them, but you don't necessarily have to talk about it like front and center all the time. It doesn't have to be the main topic of the email. For example, the coupon reminder, it doesn't have to say, hey, your coupon is still waiting. You could just talk about something else and then just mention it in that email. It could be a quality assurance email with a coupon reminder as well, or all about the products, and then, coupon reminder as well. So let's just go into a little bit more detail about what the welcome series is all about. So as I mentioned, it's mainly, to deliver the welcome offer, but also you need to build trust, right? So if you've got someone who's never been to your store before, you've got to build trust, right? This isn't Amazon or eBay where they know 100% they're going to get a refund, right? You've got to tell them. You have to show that you are a trustworthy store. So you got to bust objections, right? There's a lot of objections people might have in their mind that, they're not consciously thinking about, but they are just thinking, can I trust this store? Like in their subconscious. So you've got to mention your refund policy, your shipping time, your quality guarantee, testimonials, number of units sold, years in the business, all sorts of stuff like that. Introduce your brand and values. It's important to talk about, who you are as a business. Obviously the aim is to encourage first purchases, encourage engagement. So they go into your engagement segment as well. So, you do want people, maybe they've already made a purchase, but they still receive the welcome flow. Then you still want them to get them engaged, talk about the products. And if they open that email, then they're engaged. Another goal is to prepare them for future campaigns, because people stay subscribed if they know that some good stuff is going to come on down the road. Like if they really like your product and you've got some other products they may be interested in, then, just let them know, like, hey, we launch products regularly, or we often do promotions, or, I've got loads of good information on this product. Stay subscribed. So that keeps them subscribed and interested in all your emails. Another one, anyone who's wanted to buy but got distracted, that's the other function of it as well. Imagine they signed up, they got the first email, and they're like, oh, something brought them away. Well, that email is going to keep going. The flow is going to keep going. So it brings them back. And the other thing that's not talked about that much, but the welcome flow will also get them into other flows. So, imagine someone signs up, they get the first email, they do nothing, they get the second email, they click on it, and then they add to cart. Well, then they're going to go into your abandoned cart flow. So it's also fuel for the other flows as well. So just a little side note. So of course you've got to set up your welcome series well. It's got to be really well set up, talk about your business, everything like that, bust objections. But also the power of the welcome flow is actually really boosted by the sign up form rate, right? The welcome series hinges heavily on the sign up form rate. So the highest leverage way, apart from making a good welcome series, is actually increasing the sign up form rate. And this all comes down to the placed order rate. So, imagine you've got a placed order rate of 6%. You can expect that 6% of people, regardless of how many people sign up, will make a purchase, unless they're not, as long as they're not tricked into it. You can't trick someone into signing up. It's got to be from a genuine offer. So if you get 100 people signing up with a 6% placed order rate, you should expect 6 orders. If you get 200 signing up, you should expect 12 orders. If you get 400 signing up, you should expect 24 orders, and so on. So just something to demonstrate that here. Here's the first email in a welcome series. And you can see here the placed order rate is 5.3%, right? So for this client, it generally stays around 5 to 6%. So here we are, last 30 days, 5.3, 1,751 deliveries. If we expand this out a little bit to 90 days, you'll see that the placed order rate is, pretty much the same, a little bit higher, but it's pretty much the same. But the deliveries are a lot more, aren't they? And of course, the revenue is a lot more. Expand this out even further to last 365. Here we go, 5.5. It's still around that 5.5%. But the deliveries are so much more. So you can imagine that if you double your sign-up rate, then this placed order rate stays the same. So your orders actually double because the placed order rate is consistent, but you're just putting more people through the welcome series. So it's a huge thing that to get the sign-up form rate to convert at as high a percentage as possible. So anyway, let's go back to the welcome series. So it is a little bonus. I mean, I'll link this document in the description. You can, download it for free. Just a little bit bonus here to basically separate your welcome series based on pain points. So this is a new thing. I've done this for one client and it worked out really well. Initially, their welcome series was getting about £1,500 per month. But then we separated all the different types of pain points into multiple different welcome series, which talked about each pain point in each welcome series. This product was a red light therapy brand. Red light therapy can help with sleep, it can help with skin, it can help with pain, it can help with mood, muscle recovery, and eyesight. So we split it up into 6 different welcome series, and anyone who clicked the quiz pop-up, what they're trying to get help with, were then put into the correct welcome series. So it went from converting £1,500 per month to over 3,000 per month. So it more than doubled by separating and talking to the direct pain points. So just check that out there. That's a full video on how to set this up. All right. So when you're setting up your welcome series, obviously the trigger should be when someone goes into the list that is connected to the pop-up, right? And I've seen people get this wrong. It's got to be the same list. You've got a newsletter list, and too many people use the newsletter list, which is where everybody goes in. So if they make a purchase, they go into the newsletter list. If they sign up to the embed form on the site, they go into the newsletter list. You want to make a separate list for the pop-up, and then that is triggered in the welcome series, right? Just keep it clean. It's a lot easier that way. So then the flow filters. So just quickly here, I'll just go back here. So Klaviyo doesn't actually add any flow filters to the welcome series. This particular account wants to be quite aggressive, so they want everybody to receive it unless they've placed an order. You could add started checkout 0 times since starting this flow, and or added to cart 0 times since start this flow. So basically, if anyone takes any of those actions at any point in the welcome series, they're removed from the flow and they won't receive any other emails. But as I said, you can go more aggressive, and if you want people to receive your entire welcome series, unless they place an order, then just have that. Or you can remove placed order. Imagine you've got some really, really important information you want everybody to look at in the welcome series, even if they've made an order, then just have no profile filters at all. And that is essentially what Klaviyo's goal was. I mean, the welcome series is more about your business, but, really it's turned into this high converting flow. So, just ensure to install profile filters, depending how aggressive you want to be. Displaying the pop-up to the right people. This is super simple. Just make sure you are targeting non-Klaviyo profiles. So you don't want this going to people who are already, signed up to your list, non-Klaviyo profiles. So it's super simple that all you have to do is do this one here. Don't show to existing Klaviyo profiles. Don't judge me on this pop-up. It's been converting extremely high for many years. I've split tested it loads, and this odd green color keeps winning. So I think it's a pattern interrupt. People are like, whoa, what's going on there? It just keeps winning that. So anyway, don't judge me on that. It's performing very well. All right, so let's get deep dive now into each email in the welcome series. So, this should be a warm welcome as well. So obviously you want to set the tone, think about the style of copywriting you want to have that reflects your brand. Is it formal, friendly, professional? Set the tone here and stick into it. Of course, include the discount. Have a clear CTA, encourage some browsing or shopping, and then bust a few objections if you want. You can add a few in here like refund, shipping time. If you want, add some social proof. Again, remember, there's going to be a lot of other emails, so you don't have to put these in here. And showcase some bestsellers, right? So maybe someone came on to one product, but then actually might be interested in another product. So here's just a good example here. Hopefully I can scroll in. Yeah, it's not working very good. It's easier to look at in the document. But super simple. Welcome to Cuts. Shop now. Get that up there. Get it in the frame of mind. Get the people in the frame of mind that this is a shopping email. And then just a little bit about the brand here. Our premium apparel takes you from morning coffee to boardroom to night out. So great. It's just kind of touching all bases there. Like, who's this for? It's for basically everybody. Those who wear Cuts are connected by shared disposition. Oh, it's a bit formal there, towards ambition. All right. So they're talking to their people here. They're setting the tone. You're in the right place if you are this type of person. So this works well with fashion and stuff like that. And then anyway, they go on to to showcase a few bestsellers and then shop men's and shop women. So yeah, a good place to put collection buttons in there to ensure that, if they're not interested in one product, they can then start browsing. So this is what the template would look like in Canva. Right. So here I'll just talk about coupons a little bit. I think it's a good idea to use dynamic Klaviyo coupons. They're all different. It just looks better, and then they expire as well if you want. You can just have a bit more control when it comes down to dynamic coupons. So there's a full training in here if you want to get this document, how to set these up, how to put it in the pop-up, how to put it in the welcome series. And then here I talk about objection busting banner. So this is just something I like to put at the bottom of every single email. Here's a little example here. So fast shipping, free exchanges, and whatever. They got the pay later thing as well. You could put, good customer service, 50,000 happy customers, 4.8 on Trustpilot, whatever you want. Put some things in there so that people feel confident. This is a sort of thing that just builds trust, and you should just put it in most of your emails. Sorry, all your emails, really. All right, email 2, tell your business story, right? If you're comfortable, show your face here, right? It really works wonders. As soon as someone shows their face, they're like, it builds a huge amount of trust, because you're putting your face to this, people can recognize you. Of course, no one's going to see you around and about. Maybe they will, but just putting your face to it builds a huge amount of trust. Talk about why you started selling your products. From the day that you used your product or used a similar product and then decided, these need to be changed or edited. This could be done better. It's a great place to put your full story from when you first used the product to when you decided to set up your own store. People love to hear this. And often you're talking in a way that other people resonate with, because they're like, yeah, well, I had that same problem, or I had that same desire. That's why I'm on your store. So it's just, you're connecting with the people with the same pain points or desires of why they landed on your store. Here you could do more social proof if you want. What makes your business different, anything that stands you apart, and then welcome offer reminder. So you could put a lot of text in this one. Obviously it's a story, but I do like to have a little bit of design as well. I mean, this one is really well designed, but I would at least have the logo and, some nice buttons at the bottom. And then again, the objection busting banner as well. And then the text in there. I mean, some people like to do a pure text-based email here, but I think it's a little bit too simple. I still think you need a bit of branding in this one. Here I just talk about dynamic product blocks, whatever. You can put them in there or anywhere. All right, so next one, email 3, customer testimonials. Featured real reviews. I mean, you can just simply screenshot these if you want. They may look a bit raw, a bit rough, but it looks more real. If you just screenshot from Trustpilot or FIFA or whatever, and you just plop it in there, no problem. You could do that. Or if you want to stay on brand, then design it. And then again, UGC content, image-based reviews. If people are sending image-based reviews, put them in there. And then any publications as well, like as seen in. Like, honestly, the as seen in is super rinsed. Like, Anybody can do it. If you see, as seen in the Times, as seen in whatever, Men's Health, all that sort of stuff, they've paid for it. Okay. Maybe they haven't. Maybe they somehow got picked up and somebody really wanted to write about the business. But I guarantee 99% of people who are saying as seen in, they've paid for it. Right. And you can just reach out, or sometimes, often you'll get called when you have a store and they'll say, hey, do you want to feature in our magazine or our newspaper? You need to say yes and just do it once for a few different papers. And then you can put the as seen in, you could technically do it. Okay. So that builds a lot of trust. And then number of units sold, years in business, and then the star rating. Now, if you do have a bad star rating, maybe you're just starting out and you got a couple bad negatives, you're just learning the ropes, then I wouldn't display the rating unless it's 4.2 and higher. Anything below is looking a little bit dodgy. So anyway, here's some designed reviews there. Email 4, again, if you want coupon reminder, don't have to do it like this. It could have other things in here, but you do want to remind them about their coupon. Super simple there. Another bit here about educating, all right? So educate the products, how to use it, right? If it is a bit complex, talk about how to use it, the ingredients you use cases, maybe people come on and they want to use it for one thing, but they didn't realize they can actually use it for another thing. Cooking, for example, a lot of like utensils and things can be used in different ways. Talk about your wide range if you've got a wide range of products here, right? Really good to help people shop and browse other products. What problems it solved, some guides if you've got guides as well. And then if they're made sustainably, you should mention that, it's always good to mention the design process you went through. If you actually did design your product specifically, that's great to talk about there. How you found the manufacturer, we really tried to find someone who did it in this way using this material. That's a great story to add in there if you did that. And then address competitors as well, why you're different. Talk about us versus them as well. Those are great. If you have literally improved your product compared to other people, other sellers, then really talk about it. All right. And then again, discount reminder, always important to do that. So this one just talks about ingredients here. Obviously it's a healthy cookie, nothing crazy in there. It's a keto cookie. So anyone who's, on the keto diet can have this cookie, without having any carbs. All right. So refund policy, guarantees shipping. Again, you could just mix these around in other emails. It doesn't have to be a dedicated email. 30-day money back guarantee. I'd probably say hassle-free actually as well. Next day delivery, ships immediately, 2-year warranty if you've got warranties, or 1 year, whatever it is. Split payment, it's good to talk about that. How many years in business, units sold, number of reviews as well. All right, so quality assurance. All right, so if your product does need to have some, quality ingredients or quality materials, talk about that as well. Clean, easy to use, ergonomic design, convenient design, soft fabrics, whatever it is, your product, ensure to talk about that. Again, it could be mixed in the other emails. It doesn't have to be email 7 does this, whatever. Mix it in, if you can here and there. So this was the one where they do a comparison. So let me see if I can see it here. Yeah. All right. So naturally sourced, easier to digest, balanced amino acids, tick, 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 all these. And then the other ones, protein powder is not good for you. So it isn't. Protein powder is not good for you. So, all right, this seems like a good product to me. That's a good us versus them comparison. And then finally, offer expires. You really got to hammer it home. Even if you don't make the coupon expire, you've got to tell them it's going to expire, because people need to be pushed, right? They're like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh yeah, I wanted to do that. And they think, right, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. Right. But if you say your coupon is expiring at midnight tonight, they're like, all right, okay, I really got to get this now. So ensure to put some urgency in there. And then here's a little bonus, right? So this does work in a couple of accounts. Make a last email, set a delay of 20 days, and then just say, hey, I noticed you haven't made a purchase yet, so I've reactivated your discount. And if you want, you can increase it as well. If it was 10, go to 15, or 15 to 20. I've reactivated it for 24 hours only, and I've made it bigger. And then often that can make a few extra sales as well, and then put some reviews and reminder of the satisfaction guaranteed, all that sort of stuff. All right, so here's just a bunch of other resources if you do want to download this document. But here's a great email, like a great business welcome flow. So the reason why I like it, there's a lot of reasons. I won't go through all of them, but what I was saying before about how you don't have to make like the refund policy or the shipping time or whatever it is, the customer reviews, that doesn't have to be the topic of the email. You can just put it in the email. So cheers to midweek beers, right? This is focusing on the desire that people have to drink beer in the middle of the week. So obviously this is a non-alcoholic beer, and it really gets to the desire, right? Now, of course, in there, they're going to talk about, the positives of the company, but they're still going with a great hook and talking directly to their customers' desires, right? So really, really good there. And then, of course, they do reinforce key selling points and discount and, whatever. They do all the other good stuff as well. So let's have a look at the next one. So this is about the product. So, how it was made. But the way they talk about it is the future of beer, the social blend, right? Very, very intriguing is that. They're not just saying our beer is high quality. or we chose the best ingredients. No, they're really going for a hook that really intrigues people and gets them interested. So obviously they go into the ingredients there, but again, the angle isn't just saying high quality; it's intriguing customers as well. So I mean, just if you can't see it, this is Impossible Brew. So let me just see if I can get in there. Impossible Brew, really great marketing, really great emails they do. And then here's the founder's story. So again, they've branded it, which I definitely like to do. Then put all the text about the founder's story, and then the branding at the bottom, and the usual email as well. So really, really nice there. Again, he's put his face in there, so it really builds trust. And then let's have a look at the email force. They only did 4 emails, which is interesting for a decent sized company. And then award-winning, right? Pale ale lager. So they're not just saying, hey, see what our customers think, or our customers love us. It's award winning. I mean, whatever. Maybe you haven't won an award. You probably haven't, but think of a different way of saying it. Don't just put the exact thing that you're trying to, convey. Say it in an intriguing way, and then people are going to be more likely to click and read. So yeah, really, really great there. And just follow their emails. So yeah, that's it. That's how you craft a really great welcome series. Ensure to get as many of those points in there that make sense for your business. Don't cram too much all in one. Spread it out. Make sure you deliver that coupon in the beginning, and then make sure that your sign up form rate is as high as possible, because that will really make or break your welcome series as well. So again, if you want this document, click the link in the description. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.